In India, an alarming 23 million girls drop out of school every year at the onset of puberty. I thought I was dying. So much blood, I didn't know what was happening. No one spoke to me about it, not at home, and it wasn't even in my school book. I was too ashamed to come back to school. Periods. A topic so taboo that no one in India, not even mothers, talk about it. The only place where girls could have learnt about it is school. But because of the same taboo, even the National Council of Education never printed this chapter. Introducing The Missing Chapter. Together with P&G Whisper, we designed a chapter for schoolgirls to understand the simple biology behind periods. The conversation was sparked with a film about 3 rebellious girls on a mission to spread period education. The red piece of paper became the symbol of our revolution. News channels picked up the missing chapter and read it live on prime time TV.
Missing chapter Aro strong, Aro healthy.
To reach the remotest parts of India, we adapted the chapter in 28 native art styles and languages and put it on school and village walls. India lent its voice for our petition by reading the chapter on social media.
The more people that can get access to that kind of education, the less of a problem period management will be.
The collective voices were heard by the country's decision makers.
Lebanon is collapsing.
The scale of the crisis for ordinary Lebanese people is evident everywhere you look.
It is out of petrol, internet, electricity, food, medicine. The coming 2022 elections, however, provide a glimmer of hope in providing some stability. But the current government, in a bid to hold on to power, has been making excuses to delay elections. Excuses such as the lack of paper and ink to conduct elections.
أقلام قرطاسية حبر انتخابي هو ناطر هو بدون فريش من وين؟
So to defend democracy, An-Nahar, the newspaper of the people, decided to publish the country's much-awaited 2022 elections edition by not printing it. Instead, An-Nahar donated the paper and ink from the unprinted edition to print voting ballots.
تحت عنوان مطبعنا الجريدة لنطبع صوتنا للتاريخ أن الصحيفة لم تصدر طبعتها الورقية اليوم وستقدم الورقة والحبر لطباعة جزء من مستلزمات انتخابات عام 2022.
تتصير الانتخابات بأي طرق من الطرق لازم تصير الانتخابات.
Found at every newspaper distributor in Lebanon on February 2nd was an empty news rack with a message explaining our cause and a link to an online edition. Trucks delivered that day's entire supply of paper and ink to the government's printing associate. The non-existent issue went viral. We had sparked a movement which people joined to ensure that elections happen. Press, private, and recycling companies also supported the movements.
We will support this movement with all our resources. The elections have to happen on time.
Even election candidates spoke up for the cause. An-Nahar had revived hope amongst the Lebanese for true change to take place. With the unprinted edition, we didn't just save paper and ink. We saved democracy. As of now, the Lebanese elections are scheduled to go ahead as planned. And the government has stopped mentioning the shortage of paper and ink to print ballots.
Packaging is the face of a brand. But in India, it's also the face of plastic pollution.
Plastic is on the streets, in the oceans, the mountains.
1,000 tons of plastic.
And the uncomfortable truth is that some of it has got our name on it, and that is not okay with us.
With Unilever liquid product packaging reaching 9 out of 10 Indian households, we needed a sustainable business transformation. So we sacrificed our most valuable branding asset, our packaging. Introducing SmartFill, an in-store experience that lets our customers buy Unilever liquid products while reusing other brands' plastic waste. From old packs to soda bottles to even competing packaging. A new business model inspired by the common Indian practice of repurposing. Product dispensing stations were placed across main retail stores in India. Customers just had to select a product, enter the desired amount, SmartFill, and add a barcode to pay for the exact amount of product taken. Every product at a discounted price, allowing people to save not only on packaging costs but by purchasing smaller amounts, leading to an increase of product trial. In a country with one of the world's largest populations, the global impact was noted and appreciated.
In an industry-first move, HUL is offering its customers with an opportunity to reuse their already used plastic bottles and refill it with home care products.
At Unilever, we're rethinking the way that we use plastic packaging in our products. You could say we're getting drastic with plastic.
A new sustainable commerce model that gradually cuts the production of liquid product packaging, giving a smarter and better solution for our shoppers and our planet.
How do you make the entire world discover a destination like Sweden? If you don't have much of a media budget, you need a big idea or a big problem.
When people hear the name Bolmen, few think about this beautiful lake in Småland, Sweden. Instead, most people think about this: a toilet brush. For us who work in tourism, this is a bit problematic.
In the film, we presented a number of Swedish places, while also describing the IKEA situation. And the message was clear.
It is time the world knows that all these names belong to wonderful places in Sweden. So forget about IKEA. Discover the originals.
Sweden was about to reclaim the names from IKEA, and this was just the beginning. In November of 2021, local politicians, residents, and media gathered by Lake Bolmen for the presentation of the lake's new slogan, Bolmen, more than an IKEA toilet brush. In social media, we offered more beautiful pictures and catchy slogans. Everything pointed towards visitsweden.com, where we had a guide to 21 of these lovely places. Just hours after going live, the campaign was covered by Sweden's biggest news stations, and then it went global. Many of the world's biggest publishers within news, travel, and design wrote about the campaign. Some stations got a special PR kit with Bolmen merch. Finally, people got to know the truth about IKEA's mythical product names, and the places got the attention they deserve. In the end, 49 countries published more than 700 articles. With a minimal media budget, the campaign got a potential reach of 2.1 billion. Sweden had officially reclaimed the names.
The build of the Sheba Hope Reef is a project that has built on probably a decade of research to produce an outcome that enables us to build a reef very rapidly and effectively.
In practical terms, we're installing the word HOPE, H-O-P-E. It's 47 meters long.
Spelling out the word hope will demonstrate in a very, very visual way that there is hope for coral reefs.
we are using a technique called the Mars Assisted Reef Restoration System, and it's pretty much some steel structures which we call reef stars.
The reef star that we are using is like hexagonal shape. We cover with sands, which is actually coming from reef also, and fiberglass resins to protect the steel bar from corrosions.
And on those 800 reef stars, there'll be around about 13,000 corals.
So once the coral's tied on, the guys then put the reef stars back in the water, so we want to make sure that the coral is out of the water the least amount of time as possible.
Move the reef stars to the site, and then we have some divers who are trained in the underwater construction, assembling the new reef underwater, and then all the connecting together and all the anchoring, which is so important to the long-term survival of the reef in rough weather conditions.
It's physically demanding, but at the end of the day, you could have restored 30, 40 metres squared of reef, so it's satisfying to do.
We spent about a year working with the communities. On this island, we have 6 neighbourhoods, and each neighbourhood is responsible for providing a minimum of 6 people for each installation. It's their place, so we rely on the communities to work with us to protect it so that the bad things that happened to the original reef don't just happen again to this reef.
Coral reefs are the most biodiverse ecosystems in the sea. The small fish are eaten by medium-sized fish are eaten by big fish. The whole marine system is interconnected.
The reef is the home for the fish, and without the reef means there is no fish for the future.
Now our legacy is going to be that we initiate or help initiate a sustainable program of reef restoration that started in the Coral Triangle and will spread from there to the rest of the world.
Now you can imagine the level of devastation there is across the hospitality industry.
It's an intolerable situation for public
Bars
goods.
and restaurants are being forced to throw out old beer, which is causing concern for sewage systems.
Our treatment plants could fail, could result in a fish kill, or it could result in prosecution.
If you can't serve 19 million pints, what else do you do with it?
We took in 5,000 tonnes of Heineken beer. We produced biogas from our digester and harnessed this through our combined heat and power plant, enough to power 1,000 homes per day and heat a care home in the local community.
We would never have thought that we were producing kegs of beer to feed animals and to create biogas.
One of the byproducts from the beer, which is called digestate, is a valuable nutrient-rich fertiliser spread on local farmland.
One thing that we could definitely do without is another pandemic. But when you see the way people responded to this pandemic, we can and we will deal with whatever's thrown at us.